Howdy, it's the Appalachian Trail live broadcast. Giggles with you here. Just got done with the Shenandoah National Park in the Blue Ridge. I have this beautiful pub beer. We'll see how it tastes. I don't know. We'll see. Look, it was 100 miles of beauty and a lot of fun. The Shenandoah's the Shenandoah, it's a river. Shenandoah National Park is part of the Blue Ridge that follow the river. And they have a Skyline Drive that runs 100 miles through the park up on top of the ridge line, which is an interesting thing. It was a beautiful thing to me because the Skyline Drive and where I was hiking is two different spots. The drive can be here, and just 50 feet below can be the Appalachian Trail, and the people up on the drive never see you, and you never see them up above you. You just know they're there, which is great because it offers a little bit of, I don't know, you just don't want people around when you're hiking, you know? It's not that we're weirdos. We're not recluses, but we don't want Aunt Mary there saying, "Oh, look at that." We just don't want to deal with things. So it's a great little buffer that they put right through the zone. Now the interesting thing is you can get to friends and family, and that's exactly what happened to me. I had a very fortunate thing happen, and that is my father and Deborah came out on Sunday and met me at Skyland, something like that. That's a resort up at about 3,600 feet up on the top of the Blue Ridge, right in the middle of the Shenandoah Park. And I got to stay in Zero there and hang out with my dad. And we did a dance with some of the local girls and had a few beers. I don't know how he did it, but he made dressing in a crock pot. It tasted just as good as a regular dressing, if not better. And instead of turkey, he cooked me chicken because it tastes better and it was easier to cook. Nothing better than your first night out, and instead of cracking open some nasty ramen noodles, instead you got some dressing and some chicken. It was awesome. So thank you, Dad. I had a blast. Then I hiked for another 4 days, and now I'm in Waynesboro. I'm in a motel, Days Inn. It's been great. I got Walmart down the street. I'm going to resupply in the morning. I got up. I had, I think, 3 or 4 dinners, and enjoyed every one of them. And I'm having a good time. The last week up in Shenandoah National Park, quite a bit of cold, to tell you the truth. I know one of the days it was supposed to get down, or one of the nights it was supposed to get down to 24 degrees in Luray. Well, Luray's about 2,000 feet in elevation. Per every 1,000 foot, you can subtract 3.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So, if it was 24 in Luray, it was probably 17 where I was. And the good news is I was not in a tent. I was in the shelter, which is not as insulated as the tent, and I still did fine, which means no telling what temperature I can get down to while in the tent. The next night I was in the tent, and it was great. But I did good at however cold it got. I got up early, hiked. It was cold most of the first part of the hike, and then you get the blood going. I have learned some tricks, like it's better to sleep low and then hike up while it's cold because it gets your feet and your hands warm quickly as you hike uphill. Also, it is warmer down lower, but I'm looking ahead, and there's not a lot of shelters that are low in Virginia. Most of them are above 3,000 feet, salmon cat will get to you in a minute. I'll give you a call after the podcast. You ought to be watching now. But here's the way I'm taking this thing. It's I had a rough few days weather-wise with the cold at night, but the days have been good, and at night I've been prepared for it. But I have to use more of my brain than your average if it was, say, October or September. Which is fine. I'm good for that. It's it kind of pleases my mind a little bit to use a little more. Before the trail, I had a lot of checklists, and I would always try to accomplish 7 things a day. Sometimes you wouldn't get to 5, but it's gone back to that, it seems like, and that's well, it's something I've learned to be happy at, I guess. And an example would be if you don't get up to get your water on time, you go thirsty. But if you get it, you go ahead and get cold, your hands get cold, you can go back in the sleeping bag and get them warm. But if you mess up the water and don't get it, and then 5 miles later you're just killing your cold because you don't have any water in your system, it just seems like there's always water is very important. It seems like, I mean, I know it is, but it seems like what I'm saying is that's a bad example. I'm trying to find a better one. Little things lead up to big things during the day, and so all through the day I seem like I'm organizing more and more and thinking about the miles ahead to make sure I'm all right. But it's good, and I have some new pants and some new gear, and I think I'm good to go on. And I think the what I made my mind and set is that I continue on as long as the weather's good. Which, by the way, the next 10 days, a little rain, but it looks great temperature-wise for the next week at least. And my deal is if it gets bad, excuse me, I'll see that coming, say, 3 days in advance. I'll stay down in town. I don't care if it takes another night or 2, whatever. I'm going to get this thing done. I'm going to do it in a safe manner. And how else do you do it? That makes the most sense to me. I got to see my first bear, and I saw one right before Shenandoah National Park in Virginia, and it looked sort of like a Labrador running through the woods. There wasn't much to see. In fact, I thought it was a dog at first. And then I saw one on Thanksgiving Day. No, sorry, Wednesday. Wednesday, I was going up on this peak, and up above me to the right was a decent sized adult. Nothing big, but he stopped. I saw him, I stopped, I said, "Oh, well, look at you." And that's when he noticed me, and he got up on his hind legs, gave me a look, and then he ran off the other way up and down the mountain. Beautiful, beautiful animal. Saturday night a week ago, I had a bear. No, Friday night a week ago. Sorry. Anyway, I'm in the Shenandoah National Park. It may be my first campsite in the national park, something like that. And I had not read the log yet. The log stated that it was 2 bears that live in the area that are rather friendly, which is a problem. You don't want them getting used to people. Anyway, I cooked my ramen. I got a little fire going. I'm on the top of the world. It's about 6:30, and it sounds like a person walking straight up the mountain towards me, and it was definitely a bear, and came right up. Never saw him, but I tried to kind of headlight him. He stopped and then hollered at him, and then he started running downhill. I know the difference in a bear. I know the difference in a deer. This was definitely a bear. And then 2 nights ago, I had something sniffing on my tent. Came right up to my shoulder and sniffed, and kind of gave and did that 3 times. And I don't think a deer would do it 3 times, but it did sound like there was deer around the other side of my tent. So who knows? I don't know. At that point in time, I was too damn tired to put my headlight lamp out. I just said, well, you know, if there's a problem, come and get me. Of course there wasn't. You know, the bears aren't, yeah, they're a problem, but I hang my food, and I would like to show maybe in the next podcast how I do the PCT method of doing a bear bag. That's what I've been doing in the Shenandoah National Park. If I'm not at a shelter, the shelters have these kind of oddball plate. It's a stick. You put your bear bag on the stick and then hang it on this hook way up. And it's really awkward. It's hard to use, actually. I'd rather just hang my stuff in the tree like I normally do. But it works. Except for the fact that the second time I used one, the storm blew it off the damn hook. I woke up in the morning about 2 o'clock, checked on it when I went to pee, and the damn bag was on the damn ground. Another interesting thing that happened to me in Shenandoah National Park is there was a fire. And I didn't see the fire. I was headed up to hold on. Stony Man Summit, the highest peak in the national park. It's right before Skyland Resort, where I stopped off and had a 0. Normally I would have taken the trail up to the top of the mountain, up to the peak. I did not get to go there. The Park Service had the trail shut off because of a fire that burnt 10 acres up. In fact, they the day before I got there, they evacuated Skyland. Everything was fine. Like I said, only 5 acres. That's 5 acres is nothing. And but I didn't get to go to the highest peak in Shenandoah National Park, which is no big deal. It's less than 4,000 feet. But it was a real pain hiking up the what is Sky Drive or whatever. It's just not good hiking down a 2-lane road with no shoulders. But I did it for 2.5, 3 miles, and I had my beer after I was done, and I was a heavy man. Also, there's been some interesting news about hikers in my area. There's been evidently some people, one would be, well, I gotta think of his damn name. Sunset. Sunset started in Duncan, Pennsylvania. We talked about that. It's a fun town. It's a good town. Just a good, fun Pennsylvania town to drink some beer in. He started there. He passed me because, well, when I saw him at Skyline when I was leaving out, and he was trying to pull like some 24-mile day to set up between there's 2 shelters in Shenandoah National Park that are 26.2 miles between each other. Well, 26.2 is exactly a marathon, and he wanted to do that marathon, so he's long gone. He came into town yesterday, and he's up back in the mountains. He got the marathon done. But I talked to a guy today, said he was finishing. He did all the way up, got to Katahdin October 2nd, And then he left 200 miles with his wife down here. They were finishing up their through hike today. But he was he started crying while talking about it. That's not strange to me. What's strange is I walked down the hill and he's like staring at me like. And I'm like, why is this dude just looking at me odd? It was really weird. And he said, if you see my wife, tell me you're a through hiker because we're being through hikers. We want to meet all of them we can. I never found his wife. He had no wife. So he was a very strange man. I don't know if I trust him. I was expecting some joke down the line. I don't know what the deal was. Anyway, I don't know what I was getting off of. Very strange thing that happened today. It's been interesting seeing people who are hiking on Thanksgiving. I stopped at a spot at a cabin that I was not supposed to be at. This is not the first time that's happened. I don't know if I told you last time, but up north of Harpers Ferry, up in, I guess that would be Maryland, just 20 miles north, I went into Washington National Monument. That's where they made this monument up on this mountain for President Washington. But from up on that monument, you could watch Antietam, and so people did. And locals watched the Battle of Antietam. So these generals said, "What are these guys doing up there?" And they kicked them off, and they said, "This is a good spot to run this war from." In that area, I found a spot. It was a nasty day. I found a spot with a fireplace. I started a fire, had everything going. The two park rangers came to shut the place down. They said, "Oh, you can't stay here." And what did Giggles do? I talked my way. I just said, "Look, I got to talk my way out of this." And they said, "Look, just forget we ever say anything. We'll pretend you're not here. Just make sure there's no problem in the morning." I said, "Look, I'll pick up the whole place. Have me a good spot to stay." Same thing down here. You talk your way through. I get to this cabin and Shenandoah National Park. It's Thanksgiving night, so 2 nights ago, and I don't know, 7 o'clock. It's been dark for a while. I'm putting my tent down. I figured if anybody was at this cabin, they would be here by now. It's got to be a family or something. Sure enough, an hour later, this single guy comes up. He'd been at Thanksgiving with his mother, and he's got this damn cabin to get over the shit. I don't know. You get tired of fucking messing with family and all that, but he was a kind of an odd fellow just because he drank way too much. I had one little piece, a little bit of wine, and this guy got hammered. But kind of looked like a big Jerry Bailey, which is odd. So picture that in your mind. And other than drinking too hard, he was a nice guy, good guy in the morning. He could have called the park service on me and had me go, but he offered me some wine and started a fire, and we were good. So I'm now in Waynesboro, and the next big town is going to be Dalesville. I think that's going to be a few weeks. I'm looking at a few towns coming up. Little towns I may have to hitch into 6 miles away or so. I don't know. We're just going to play the weather the way it is. Things have been going great, and I hope it stays the way it has been. I've seen a lot of section hikers. As long as section hikers are around, why can't through hikers be? Just because I'm at the end. Oh, another thing. Talking to that weirdo that I was talking... There we go. I forgot why I was talking about the weirdo, see? The weirdo I was talking about that said he was finishing the through hike. He said yesterday in Waynesboro he saw 3 through hikers. I know one of them is Johnny Sunshine, Karate Kid, and what's the other one? Something with an H. But I'm just a day behind you guys, and I plan on catching up. So when I do, I think that's going to be fun. I'm going to see if I can get them on here, assuming I can catch up. I've been following these guys for a month at least, And I don't know. They're going a little slower than me, maybe. Hopefully, we'll see. And it's been a while since I heard from our friend Coffee Break. I don't know. I don't know about Calamity. I know they're up ahead. I'm sure they're fine. I know Bagel's doing up ahead. And I know Not Right. Sorry, what am I saying? Not Yet. Not Yet. I know he's not watching this, but I know he's up ahead. I'm going to give him a call. We got to get him on board, you know. If I could ever catch him. And I know we got Gator somewhere on the trail. So we got a lot of Sobos going on. And just because there's only 220 of us left or whatever, I don't know. Maybe a few have come after me. We got people on this trail. It doesn't matter how cold it is. You know, we keep partying on. We keep hiking. That's what we do. And we take advantage of the situation. Opportunistic predators. You know what I'm talking about. So, that's about it. I'm going to get on with my pub beer. And I'm going to go to Walmart and resupply. And thank you guys for such a happy Thanksgiving. And you know who I'm talking to. And I hope you're having a happy Thanksgiving also. And enjoy yourself. Thank you so much.